In this video, we are going to be talking about 3 tips for new creators that will make tax time a breeze. Hello there, welcome or welcome back. I am Violet, and this is my channel, The Analytical Creator, where I help you build your YouTube channel with the analytics and information from my YouTube channels. I work in tax, so this is my wheelhouse. These are tips for people who are maybe starting a channel, thinking about it, have started a channel. So at the beginning of next year, when you're getting your taxes in order, you have good, substantiated numbers to put on your tax return. What you do not want to do is put any number on your tax return that you cannot support with documentation. So tip number 1, if you're buying things for your channel and you haven't started a business account or anything like that, which is totally understandable, make sure you're separating out your purchases for what is for your channel versus what is for your personal life. For instance, I buy things for my ASMR channel all the time from big box stores, little craft stores. I buy things for my personal life and for my YouTube channels or my content creation business at the same time. I put my personal things on the belt, put a divider, and put everything else. Because at the end of the day, I want a receipt with only the things that are going to be used for my YouTube, for my content creation, for any of that. I want those all on their own receipt. So if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel and you're starting to buy things, make sure you're separating out those purchases. Make that 2 transactions. And this is why. Say I go to an electronics store, Best Buy, I buy the camera I'm going to use for all of my content creation, but I also have my daughter with me. She wants this little mechanical whatnot, and I put them all on the same receipt. So later on, when I get home, or days or weeks or months later, when I'm entering in all the things I've purchased for my business, I am going to have to take that receipt and subtract out the item I bought for my daughter and the sales tax and any related fees that are on that receipt, because that camera is an asset for my business. Say it costs $2,000 and say the tax associated with that purchase is $20. I would be entering $2,020 as that expense for my business. The last thing you want to do is to be sitting at your computer on April 13th, going through receipts, figuring out how much tax should be associated with your business purchases versus what tax is associated with personal purchases. Because here's what could happen way down the road that you want to be prepared for, just in case. You always want to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So let's say you get audited and they want to see all the receipts for the amount that you put on your Schedule C for your content creation business, entity, whatnot. When you hand them over a stack of scanned receipts, you send them PDFs. If you haven't already done that, if you've done that incorrectly, that's a lot more legwork you're going to have to do 3 years down the road, 4 years down the road, 7 years down the road. It's a lot easier to have those numbers be clean and concise when they go onto your tax return, when they go into your financial spreadsheet. To reiterate, tip number 1, if you're buying things that you're going to use specifically for your business, for your content creation, buy them in their own transaction. Tip number 2, set up an email address for your business. Somewhere that if you say you buy a ring light online and you get emailed the receipt, you're going to forward that receipt to that business email address. And it's fine if you keep everything coming to your personal email, but it can get sticky sometimes, things get deleted. You want to make sure that you have your record somewhere that is stable and specific to your business. It's a lot easier to go to your business email account, go to your things I purchased 2024, 2025, 2026, and being able to see those receipts in an email form than going into your personal email and going through, the 1,800 emails that we all get every single day. So to make things easier, to keep your record keeping on point, start an email business address so that you can forward anything that pertains to your business to that email address. And tip number 3, get a scanner, or make sure that you're making copies of all of your receipts, all of your documents, and saving them somewhere. And if this seems obvious to you, that is awesome. Unfortunately, receipt paper is usually somewhat delicate, so it breaks down pretty easily. So before it fades, before the ink gets smudged, before it gets crumpled and thrown away, you're going to want to take a picture, scan something, and send it somewhere. And if you can just take a picture of it with your phone and email it to your business address, hey, even better. You want to have that documentation showing what you bought, where you bought it, time, date, the amount you paid, the tax you paid, shipping you paid. You want to have that information easily accessible. If your state or the IRS ever comes knocking looking for that documentation, you want to have it. Because unlike Law and Order, which I'm sure we all watched, or at least I did, with taxes, you are responsible for supporting the numbers you put on there. The IRS, your state, they don't have to prove anything, and they are in the position to ask you for all supporting documentation. And if you don't have that documentation, that number will change on your tax return. They will recalculate your tax due, and they will also calculate interest and penalties on the amount that you failed to pay when the return was originally filed. So the biggest message I want to send here is maintain your documentation any way you possibly can. And the last tip, which I didn't really include, I really want to focus on the maintaining documentation, is to start a business spreadsheet, start a financial tracking spreadsheet, income, expenses. Maintaining documentation is huge. There is a joke in the accounting industry where you have these, bad taxpayers, bad clients who show up with a box of receipts. And yes, that's annoying. But one thing you don't want to have happen is not have any receipts. You want to have documentation to prove all the numbers on your tax return. Just like you have your W-2, you want to keep all the receipts for anything you purchase for your business. And honestly, even if it doesn't turn into a business, even if you're sort of dabbling and then you're forget it, I think it's still good to just see how much money you may have spent. And it's good for people who are starting a business to see how much money they've spent, because things add up and you just never realize until it's in front of you in an Excel spreadsheet, watching you, always watching. So this is all good information to have for both right now, for your taxes, and also to base your future financial spending decisions on. Thank you so much for watching. If you have questions about taxes, drop them in the comments below. I'm very interested to see what is going through everyone's head. I know it's December, so tax prep season is coming up quick. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Now, I work in tax, so this is my, what is that called? Wheelhouse.